Hey everyone, this is Ivo once again, Rainbow McLean for life. I wanna welcome everyone back for another movie review, and today I'm going to review the fourth installment in Transformer franchise. And today I'm going to talk about and review the film Transformers: Age of Extinction. Prepare for extinction, the rules have changed. Which is the fourth installment of Transformers, the series, which is a live-action science fiction film based on a toy line Hasbro with the same name. And Transformers: Age of Extinction was once again directed by Michael Bay, and I will show you the Blu-ray disc. This is the last last film that I do own in the franchise. This is the last one that I do own the franchise. I have never seen the fifth or the sixth movie before. Transformers: Age of Extinction, once again directed by Michael Bay. The screenplay was written by Aaron Kruger, who also wrote co-script for Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen, and he wrote a screenplay for Dark of the Moon. And I watched this movie yesterday, and I really have enjoyed this movie. I love this movie. I really do love this movie. I love this movie, and I would say it's a really good movie in my opinion. Forget what I said in my reviews that it sucks. It does not suck. It's a really good movie. I actually think I'm gonna put this movie above Revenge of the Fallen. I think it's actually, in my opinion, better than Revenge of the Fallen. And usually this movie, Revenge of the Fallen, gets the most hate and the most shit, but I disagree. It's not mediocre. It's a really good movie. I have really enjoyed this film yesterday. But yes, it has problems. So Transformers: Age of Extinction was released in 2014, June 27, and of course, the budget was $210 million, and this is the most expensive movie, movie to film to the four movies, because the first movie cost only $150 million, the second one was $200 million, the third one was $195 million, this was $210 million, the most expensive movie made for the effects. And of course, it's actually was the most highest grossing movie in 2014. It earned $1 billion, just like the third one. It earned $1 billion, $104 million together, but $1 billion. It actually earned billion. It was the most highest grossing movie in 2014 ever. Was released in IMAX in 3D, and the movie, like I said, it received mostly negative reviews and critics because of runtime, performance, screenplay, and direction. But I thought that Michael Bay did a good direction this film. Like I said, it was shot in IMAX in 3D. And for the film, which was the first feature film to be shot in smaller digital IMAX camera and other film formats on IMAX 70mm film cameras, digital stereo 3D, and anamorphic and spherical 35mm films. And Michael Bay was proud, that he shot this film, shot this film in IMAX 3D. He was proud because I thought that his direction, really were well done. It was very well done. The animators, for the cars, the colors, the effects was awesome. It was fantastic. And this is definitely my third favorite Transformer movie now. I put it above Revenge of the Fallen. And it's a really decent, good movie. I enjoyed it. It's a good. I don't think it's mediocre. I disagree with that. It's a really good movie in my opinion, but many will disagree. Now, Michael Bay gets a lot of crap and people shit on it, but you know what? He's not a bad director. He never was a bad director. He's a talented, good director, and I like him. And I'll defend him, you know. Michael Bay is not a bad director. So what? His movies are 2 hours long. At least he didn't went and make a director's cut of Transformers, Age of Extinction, or the first Transformers and butcher it like Sylvester Stallone did, you know. Like Sylvester Stallone butchered it my favorite movie, Rocky 4. He at least didn't sit in the chair and edit it and put some garbage in it. He at least didn't, you know. Why Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger are making crap movies nowadays? It's really disgrace what they're doing nowadays, you know. But no one's gonna talk about. They're just gonna go in. This is Michael Bay. Michael Bay was never a bad director. I love Bad Boys 1 and 2. I saw Bad Boys 2 in movie theater. Armageddon, I have mixed feelings because Bruce Willis dies on the end. Pearl Harbor sucked. Yes, I admit it. It sucked. I hated it. It was 3 hours long. I bought a movie on VHS in high school, and I expect it's going to be like Saving Private Ryan. It wasn't. It sucked. I have not seen Pain and Gain. Have not seen the other movies except the first 4 Transformer movies, because I enjoyed the Transformers 1. I enjoyed Transformers Dark of the Moon, and I enjoyed this movie, Age of Extinction. And I like the second one. The Rock, a badass movie. It's Die Hard on Alcatraz. I love The Rock that he directed. There are movies that he directed I enjoy. Island, I thought was more a time waster, a mediocre time waster, overlong and boring movie. It had a few action scenes in it. Thank God there was never a sequel being planned for it. You know, Island was a mediocre movie. I didn't thought that Transformers Age of Extinction honestly was mediocre or a bad movie like people are claiming. This one and The Revenge of the Fallen are considered being the worst in the franchise. I don't see that, and I don't agree with that. I thought that Michael Bay did a he directed fantastic this movie. He did a good direction. Yes, the pacing is slow. Its running time is 2 hours 45 minutes. Way too long. That's way too long. But the first 17 and 30 minutes in the movie, I thought I felt bored with it. But when I continue more watching, the movie kind of, you know, it didn't drag. It actually was kind of more interesting. And yeah, it was kind of more interesting. And it was entertaining. Michael Bay he entertained us, and it was entertaining movie. You know what? I'll choose this movie over Armageddon or Pearl Harbor anytime. You know, I have not seen Pain and Gain in 13 hours, you know, but I'll definitely choose this movie over Armageddon and Pearl Harbor, which I hated that movie. It's definitely better. Or even Island. I'll take this movie over Island, you know. Much better movie by Michael Bay. So yeah, the movie is a really good movie in my opinion. It's decent, it's entertaining movie, and I like it. I love this movie. I actually, like I said, I prefer now this movie over Revenge of the Fallen, so I'll put this movie above Revenge of the Fallen. For one of the reasons, Optimus Prime does not die in this movie. He dies in Revenge of the Fallen. In this movie, he does not die. And we also have now a new cast. Now, the cast from the human cast from the previous movies, third movies, no one returns, no one comes back. Shia LaBeouf and Michael Bay, they both stated that they're not gonna return. I think that Dark of the Moon ended Sam Witwicky's storyline. It ended the trilogy. When I said in the third movie that it ended it, I thought that the movie ended the trilogy, but I'm glad that it was the next movie. And I really respect Michael Bay for what he did. He did the best what he could Just like some fanboy who wrote me a comment, oh, to Rocky 4, he did the best what he could. You know, Michael Bay did the best that he could. He at least didn't butcher this movie. He didn't butcher, he didn't disrespect, you know, like Terminator disrespects the first two classic masterpieces. He didn't disrespect the first movie or the third or the second movie. He did the best as he could. That's my opinion, and many will disagree. And Shia LaBeouf stated he's not gonna return. Michael Bay also stated he's not gonna return for the fourth movie. And like I said, I thought that the Dark of the Moon ended the same storyline. Now the new cast, it's a different movie, new cast, new story arrives, which is awesome, in my opinion. Also, Michael Bay, you know, he stated that he's not going to return for this movie, but Steven Spielberg hoped that Michael Bay will return. So there were rumors, other directors to replace him with of course, for the fourth movie, that will be Roland Emmerich, Joe Johnston, John Turteltaub, Stephen Sommers, Louis Leterrier, and David Yates. And then Michael Bay decides that once again he's going to direct this movie, and he still did a good job. He did the best as he could, and he stated that he's proud that this movie was this movie was shot in IMAX 3D. And like I said, the effects I thought was awesome. The CGI, the animators, you know, the CGI, the CGI, Alien animators, Industrial Light and Magic, FX, CGI, visual effects were good. I thought that the effects, especially how the movie was shot, you know, for the cars, for how they filmed, direction, you know, the filming locations, it was awesome. In my opinion, it was well shot. I thought the direction was well shot. Especially the picture qualities were awesome, especially on Blu-ray. It's so astonished, beautiful looking. So Shia LaBeouf, you know, he stated he would not be returned for the fourth movie, so he didn't. Megan Fox also did not return. She was fired after she completed the second movie. Rachel Taylor from the first movie, Anthony Anderson, John Voight, Tyrese Gibson, Josh Duhamel, John Turturro, Kevin White and Kevin Weissman and Julie White, not Weissman, Kevin Dunn and Julie White, they don't return for this movie. None of the cast from the previous movie, even Frances McDormand from the third movie, Charlotte Manning, she does not return. No one returns. Patrick Dempsey was killed in the third movie, so he does not return. But the new cast returns, and Transformers Age of the Extinction stars Mark Wahlberg, Mark Wahlberg, Stanley Tucci, Kelsey Grammer, Nicola Peltz, Jack Rayner, and Titus Velmer. And of course, the Transformers are now coming back, which returning Transformers included Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, Ratchet, Brains, and Megatron. Galvatron, you know, now called Galvatron, returns. All those Transformers return for this movie. We also introduction into a new Transformers like Dinobots. This movie also has new Dinobots. I think I've wrote them down, but they're actually new Dinobots. And that's of course Dinobots, you know, Tyrannosaurus from this movie, Jurassic Park, Tyrannosaurus, Pteranodon, Triceratops, and Spinosaurus are all Dinobots. Actually, Michael Bay was planning to put them in the fifth movie, but because the pressure of the producer and the fans, he put them in it. So that they actually going to be the main stars in the next installment. So he put them in it, so that they actually talk, about Dinobots. But I enjoy the effects for Dinobots, from RGM, animators. I thought they're awesome. And we also got another introduction, a character which is my favorite robot, and that's of course Lockdown. He's my favorite robot. He's one of, in my opinion, also Michael Bay describes him as more interesting character in the movie, but Lockdown is my favorite character, my favorite robot, one of my favorite badass terrifying Transformer villain ever. I love Lockdown. Stevie Jablonski once again returns to the music score. I love the theme for Lockdown. Lockdown is my favorite robot. I love how the animators, the effects, how they did. It's fantastic. And of course, Lockdown is Cybertronian assassin and bounty hunter who works with the humans, with the CIA, special black ops operative to hunt down all Transformers, including Decepticons. And Lockdown is a badass, my favorite Transformer, my favorite robot. I don't have him in here because that's Optimus Prime, but he's my favorite Transformer. And Peter Cullen once it returns for the voice of Optimus Prime, and of course Frank Walker takes the role for Hugo Weaving from the Matrix and the Matrix trilogy as Agent Smith, and V for Vendetta. He takes the role now, the voice for Galvatron, now Megatron Galvatron. And Mark Ryan also takes the role for Lockdown. Lockdown is definitely my favorite character. One of the reasons why I enjoy the film, why I love this film. John Goodman is also as Hound. John Goodman is in this movie. So that's kind of awesome. Now the cast, that's Kate Yeager, played by Mark Wahlberg. That's his daughter, Paula Perz. Paula Perz, she plays Tessa Yeager, and that's of course Shane Dyson, Irish car racer. He's her boyfriend, their couple. He's her boyfriend, and she's the daughter of Kate Yeager, But I enjoy this cast, I enjoy those four casts, those four casts I enjoy. Yeah, now the plot and the story. The movie starts after the events of the third movie, which is left off, Dark to the Moon, in the Chicago, when it was war and battlefield, and a lot of people, probably hundreds of thousands of people die in Chicago. Transformers, now all Transformers, Decepticons, Autobots, they're now been hunted down by humans, by CIA, Black Ops, which they're hunting them down, and of course, Cemetery Wind, which is Operation Cemetery Wind, Black Ops, CIA Black Ops unit, which means eliminate all Transformers of this planet, and they work with Lockdown, which he's a ruthless assassin and bounty hunter. He helps and hunt down Optimus Prime, the last remains of the Autobots, the last remains, because now the Autobots, all Autobots are now the fugitive. And Kate Yeager, he's actually a mechanic, collector, and inventor. He's a collector, he's inventor. He's a collector, he's inventor, and he's broke. He has no money. his house is on notice it. So he's probably going to be kicked out from his farm. He has a daughter, a teenage daughter, Tessa. They live together, and she's a teenager. She goes to high school, and she plans, plans to go to college. But they're broke. They have no money, and Lucas Plenary, played by T.J. Miller, he's actually best friend and business partner of Kate Yeager, because he's collector. He collects the old junk and he repairs it, and he's selling it to other collectors that are interested. And so they go to this movie theater and they buy old junk, and and of course Kate goes and he buys a 1977 Mon 97 semi-old truck, and he wants to repair it, but when he's dealing with his problems, in the meantime, CIA, and of course their operative, James Savoy and his men are hunting down Transformers, and they capture it and find Ratchet, the final Autobot, and Lockdown goes and kills. Lockdown kills Ratchet. They are, CIA are working with Lockdown, because Lockdown, if they bring him Optimus Prime, they will get, the seat, which is actually a weapon, because Harold Attinger, Harold Attinger, he works with Joshua Joyce. He's ambitious, arrogant businessman in the head of KCI company who wants to build his own Transformers. They are building their own Transformers. They are building, from Megatron, they build them into a new body, Galvatron, which is more smarter than we are, and he was using them, to build them once again. And they bring, our humans, they bring extinction of themselves, that's what Brains said. And of course he works with Joshua Joyce because they made a deal to get the seed, so that they can finally build, so they can all go and finally build their own Transformers, to help them to wipe out the remain of Transformers. And Ratchet gets killed in this movie. It's just really awesome scene. While Kate struggles with stuff, he starts to rebuilding the old semi-truck, and unaware he finds Optimus Prime, which he stars to him. And because he shows to his daughter and his business partner, Kate shows them to his business partner and of course his daughter, because his business partner, they try to repair him, because he had a rocket, he tries to repair him to help him out. They find that they actually find that he's been still he's actually been still hunted down, and because Lucas goes into city, he goes, and he notifies authorities, about Transformer, that they do have Transformer, and CIA, Black Ops, Jack Seaver, he shows up with his man, James Savoy shows up with his man and attack, and he goes and attack the farm. And as Lockdown shows up, and they start all running. And I actually wrote down that scene. I watched that clip 3 times when Ratchet starts hunting down, Tessa. And I forgot to mention, when they're actually now the whole farm is blown to pieces. Great effects, great explosion. and when of course Shane shows up with his car, and saves Jack and Lucas and Tessa. They are now through the field on the run, and with Optimus Prime, and Ratchet goes with them, and he grabs the grenades, throws the grenades, and when all four, they jump out of the car, there's a huge explosion, a great effect, great explosion, fantastic effect, and of course you can see that Mark Wahlberg, he did 90% of his own stunts. So Nicola Peltz, Jack Rayner, and of course Mark Wahlberg, they all start running, and you see how Michael Bay made a close shot. All the explosions, practical effect, in my opinion, I think they were real effects, because you can see face, they're really running, and that was awesome. It was a great effect, when great explosions, one of my favorite scenes in the movie. That's my favorite scene in the movie, and also Lockdown kills Lucas. When Lucas runs, TJ Miller, he runs. We see ashes of him. Yeah, and TJ Miller is smoked. It was great explosion, flash, great explosion. And I did read it that TJ Miller had really difficult to film with Michael Bay. He did not get along at all. They weren't fans. They weren't friends. They weren't fans. And I read it that Michael Bay was threatening him that he's gonna cut him out of the film because he's not funny. But this movie has less humor than the second movie. That's one of the reasons why I put it above. But the explosion when Lockdown grabs grenades, throws the grenades, and we see flash explosions in the clothes from the actors. Mark Wahlberg, Mark Wahlberg, Nicola Peltz and Jack Rayner, you can see they all run in the faces. That was for real. In my opinion, it was done for real. I think they were real explosions. And I love when Lucas gets killed, his ashes, just like in Terminator, he gets killed, which was awesome. That's my favorite scene. So now, once again, Kate finds that Shane is actually Tessa's boyfriend. And they're now with the last remaining robots, he's now a fugitive. So to find out who's behind this, they flush him out, and that's this man. Who hunts them down, and that was, of course, Harold Attinger, CIA Black Ops unit, Operation Cemetery Wind, which has eliminated everyone, including if any of the humans helping them out, So that's in order to flush them out, they actually go into the company, or KCI company, which they find out that they're actually building their own transformers, and they're actually building their own transformers. So they're once again on the run. And the other scene that I enjoyed was the highway scene, while they send Galvatron on Transformers. He fires 4 rockets, and there's explosions and great CGI effects. Optimus Prime jumps into semi-trailer from the truck, jumps. I love that scene, and that was fantastic scene, awesome scene. And he goes and fights off, Galvatron. But he gets captured at the end by Lockwood. He and Tessa are both captured by Lockwood now and showed their ship. I love Lockwood's ship, So they made a deal. They gave the seat, the alien weapon. They actually give it to to Harold Ettinger and James Savoy, for the finishing and completing the Transformers. their own Transformers, which I enjoyed that. But it turns out, now the rest, Autobots, Bumblebee, the rest, Autobots, Bumblebee, and the other robots, they all, Hound and Bumblebee and the other robots, they decide to save Optimus Prime. They go to the ship. I love the scene in the ship, how they design the ship. And of course, when that was another scene when finally, when Kate decides to rescue with Shane, they go in the ship, and Tessa's been hunted down by those dogs. Was awesome, spectacular scene. She was hunted down, and there was also they were all like hunted down. That scene was awesome. And when Tessa, from happiness, she sees, Kate and Shane instead hugging his dad, she goes and hugs, she goes and hugs, Shane instead, and Kate says, yeah, you hug him, he's a real hero. He was so scared because he froze, So they go to this line, when they one of the Autobots, throws the anchors, the lines, on the building. They stuck on the building, and I love the scene there when Kate, Shane, and Tessa are actually climbing down those ropes. I like that scene, that action scene. I do like that scene. The final when Optimus Prime saved, and they know that now when he fought him, he felt present from Megatron. The humans bring the Extinction up on themselves. So now they go to China. They actually all go to the China. They now all go to China, and they all go now to China, which is the final showdown. And because Joshua, Kate calls. Kate goes and he calls Joshua Joyce, and he told him what's gonna happen with this seed. If this seed they got, they gonna wipe everyone. Whole planet's gonna wipe out. And Joshua finds out that he cannot give this seed to his employer and his supposed to be co-partner, Harold Tattinger and James Savoy. So he runs, and of course his new girlfriend and his employer, Su Yiming, the owner of Chinese factory, used by KCI, she helps him out. She helps him out to stay away from James Savoy and Harold Tattinger. She helps him out, and while he's been hunted down by those men, to get that seed back, but he decides to help Autobots, which I love that he decides to help Autobots. From a ambitious bad guy turns into a hero, he decides to help him out. And so the final battle, was on China. It's has begun, the final battle. The fight scenes are awesome. And of course, Kate goes in the building, fights off James Savoy like a badass he is, kills the guy, shows him out the building, fucking kills him, and on the end, he uses the space rifle, the space rifle. He uses the space rifle and he shoots, he goes and shoots a lockdown. The rest Autobots fights the Transformers and Galvatron, and on on the end, I love the scene when Optimus Prime grabs a sword and he goes and he commands, Dinobots, and that's of course, he goes and commands Dinobots, and that's of course Tyrannosaurus, fire-breathing Tyrannosaurus. That scene, Tyrannosaurus, he goes and commands them, and also Dinobots fights Galvatron and his men, and by the finale, he goes, by the finale, Harold Tattinger once again tries to kill and shoot Kate, but this is the first time Optimus Prime shoots him, and kills him because he tried to kill his ally, his friend Kate, which I love that scene. And then, of course, when Lockdown goes and stabs Optimus Prime, Tessa runs, grabs the tanker, grabs for the sword, and Shane drives with the tow truck, takes the sword away. Optimus Prime grabs the sword and stabs Lockdown and kills him. But Lockdown, especially the music score by Stevie Oblonsky, is fantastic. I love Lockdown. It's my favorite robot ever. My favorite. Lockdown is a fantastic, interesting character. So now the battle is over. The bad guys are killed, and Optimus Prime grabs the sword and the seat, and he flies in the space. He lives and he flies in the space, and of course then the movie ends. I really enjoyed it. I wish I saw this movie in movie theater, but I didn't see it that time. I didn't have no money. But I enjoyed Transformers: Age of Extinction. I thought it was kind of a little better than Revenge of the Fallen, but it's not the worst film. The cast, in my opinion, Mark Wahlberg did 90% of his own stunts. He did a fantastic job. He's awesome. Paula Peltz as Tessa, fantastic actress. She did a good job. I enjoy her as Tessa. She was better than Megan Fox, in my opinion, better than Megan Fox in the second movie. I enjoy her. And I like this guy, Jack Rayner, as Shane Dyson, Irish car racer, driver. He did a good job. I think the performance from those three, they did a good job. Peter Cullen as voice, Megatron was awesome. The effects for Megatron, Optimus Prime, silly me. Optimus Prime were awesome. He was awesome, the effects by RGM, ILMG animators, in the Industrial Light and Magic, CGI visual effects are awesome. For Lockdown was awesome. For Galvatron, for Megatron, Galvatron, also called Megatron, was awesome. The effects are awesome. For Shining, awesome. I love the yellow-black Camaro for Bumblebee, was awesome, was fantastic. It wasn't even dramatic, even much better. And Age of Extinction, I enjoyed this film. I really have enjoyed this film a lot. It was really awesome from the fight scenes. It's kind of different than the first three movies, but still awesome. I might gonna change it, but this movie is probably gonna become my second favorite. I still love Dark of the Moon a lot, because I love the fight scene between Shia LaBeouf, this is still gonna be my third favorite, because the third one I kind of enjoy a little more, always did. So this is gonna be my fourth favorite movie now, third favorite in the Transformers franchise. The fourth one will be Revenge of the Fallen. Now, Kelsey Grammer as the bad guy, Harold Tattinger did a fantastic job. He did a good job. Stanley Tucci, Joshua Joyce, he on the end, he says, I'm gonna help you out, because they're still broke, Kate and Tessa, and of course, Shane are still broke. And I love when Joshua Joyce becomes a good guy and says, I'm gonna help you. He did a decent job. Stanley Tucci was fantastic in this movie. I enjoyed the actress Bing Su Yu-ming. She did a good job. You know, love interest to Joshua Joyce. He did a good job. Sophia Miles, she's Darcy Tyrell, which I forgot to mention her. She's Joshua's geologist and geologist assistant and ex-girlfriend. She was also when they also find, you know, the remain of the dinosaur, you know, the remain of the Dinobot. They found it in Antarctica, you know, because the movie then sets in Texas, which was really awesome. I think the Sophia Miles as Darcy Tyrell did a fantastic job as geologist assistant. I enjoy her. And of course, Titus Villivier, who plays James Seawoy as the second in command, ruthless henchman. He did a fantastic job. The fight scene between Kate and him was awesome. You know, it also Mark Wahlberg shows his talented acting ability, that he's still a fantastic actor. He did 90% of his acting performance. You know, I mean, his own stunts. And I did enjoy, you know, my favorite scene will always be The Ashes of Lucas, when Ratchet throws the explosion. Great music score by Stevie Ablonsky and Paula Peltz, Mark Wahlberg, and of course, Jack Rayner. They both run, you know, behind them is tons flashes of explosions, and they both running. And Michael Bay did a fantastic job, you know. That's my favorite scene. I have really enjoyed it. TJ Miller, I'm not a fan of it. I don't care if he died. Some people are. I don't care. Lucas Plenary. So yeah, the filming. So now the filming began from May 28 to June 24, 2013. Was released. It actually was released on June 27, 2014. I don't know if I forgot to mention, but I forgot to mention, but lockdown also transforms in 2014. Great 2014 Lamborghini Aventador LP 704, which is awesome. Forgot to mention it. But Peter Cullen and Mark Ryan did a fantastic job, you know, for voicing their robots. And also the movie, like I said, the movie was filmed on May 28, 2013, was released on June 27, 2014. So this was released, no, this was also filmed May 28, 2013 in Monument Valley, Utah. Detroit was used as stand-in for Hong Kong, while McCormick Place in Chicago was redressed to portray a city in China. But the rest of the films they filmed in Hong Kong, but the other was in Detroit, in Monument Valley, Utah. Detroit was also they filmed in Detroit, you know, in 2013. In October 17, 2013, while Michael Bay was filming and shooting this film in Hong Kong, Michael Bay was assaulted and blackmailed by two brothers who demanded a payment of $12 million, $12.900 million. You know, they had a third man. They all three were arrested then, and in February 2014 they confess, you know, to confess what they did to allegations, you know, and I think they were definitely sent in prison. But yes, they went and they blackmailed Michael Bay. Of course, he didn't pay. So that's another experience. Michael Bay won't forget it. This movie was released in September 30, 2014 on Blu-ray, and I actually got this film in around December 20, 2014, around December 20, 2014, when I saw this movie that time for the first time. I remember it was very cold day that time. Yes, but yeah, it was a great experience to see this movie. I forgot to mention, but I love the song, which is by Imagine Dragons, Battle Cry. I love that song. It was a really great song. I love that song. Like I said, the CGI effects for Dinobots are awesome. I love that they put Tyrannosaurus, Pteranodon, Triceratops, and Spinosaurus in this movie, which is awesome. The cast works for me. Lockdown's my favorite character. The music score by Steve Jablonsky is fantastic. Also, John Goodman was cast as Hound, was awesome. But yeah, my favorite scene will still be the scene when Lockdown shows the grenades and blows to pieces. He goes and shows the grenades, blows to pieces, you know. And like I said, great score by Steve Jablonsky, and all three, Mark Wahlberg, Paula Pels, and Jack Reiner, they all running, you know, and you see at close shot behind them is tons of explosions, real explosions. And they actually thought they were really gonna die. They really did a great scene, and I love the scene when Lucas T.J. Miller becomes ashes. That was very great scene. Lockdown's fantastic character, great idea. Michael Bay did the best as he could. Yeah, so the movie is 2 hours 37 minutes long out of end credits, but most time I enjoyed this film, you know. I really thought it was a really good movie. I thought it was a really good movie. I don't think it's a bad movie, you know, because I haven't seen it for a long time, but I enjoy Transformers Age of Extinction, which is the 4th installment. I don't think it's one of Michael Bay's worst films. I disagree with that. That would be Pearl Harbor, definitely. Yeah, I really did have fun with this film. I don't know what else to say. I had fun with this film. It was awesome. Lockdown was a badass in my opinion. The explosions, the fight scenes, the action scenes works for me for this movie. Yes, the action scenes works for me for this movie. They're really great. The effects are great. The shot of the movie was awesome. I enjoyed this film. I have not seen, like I said, I have not seen Last Night and Bumblebee, but this film I have really enjoyed. The explosions, based on Hasbro by Paramount Pictures, so that really was something. The action scenes, the highway scenes, which is definitely another my favorite. Really did enjoy that, you know, when Tessa and Optimus Prime were captured by Lockdown. I enjoyed that when Optimus Prime uses, you know, the sword and stabs. He's actually, Lockdown stabs him, you know, and I enjoy when Paula Pels grabs that line, hooks up the line for the sword, and Shane drives tow truck and puts the sword out. I love when Optimus grabs the sword, stabs goes and stabs Lockdown. Love that scene. You know, Galvatron says we'll meet again. You know, Galvatron survives in this movie. He's not killed, because in the third movie, Megatron was killed, but Galvatron is alive in this movie. He says we'll meet again. Optimus Prime, Transformers, or Autobots. I love that. I think that Michael Bay, the cast, you know, they really work hard for this movie. But yeah, that's also my longest review on a Transformer movie, even more than the first 2 movies. But yeah, that's my review on Transformers Age of Extinction. It's Sunday now, so have a good day, have a good rest end of the week, and have a good weekend. And I'll see you. I don't know when I'm gonna review the fifth movie. I don't know when I'm gonna review the fifth movie. Last night, probably it's gonna be next Saturday. Because I'm really busy with work. I came so late home and I barely have time for movies, especially this winter, especially this season. I'm really busy, so I'll try to review, Transformers 5 last night. Next week, in Saturday and Sunday, I'll try to review Bumblebee. But maybe I'll sooner I'll see that. No, anyway, that's my review on Transformers Age of Extinction. Take care, and I'll see you later. I'm out. Bye-bye.